you cannot let a corrupt system parent who you are as an individual. Don't become the system. Rebel against the system. And by rebelling against the system, you look within and you create your own version of who you are. Hi. So I just wanted to clarify. I am not hating on any type of style, on any type of anything. My point is, we shouldn't adhere to a blueprint completely, thoroughly. We should create our own version of everything that exists in the world and everything that does not. Whatever that means to you. Just like taking different parts of different everythings, and from yourself, everything's. The more you can get from yourself, the better off you'll be. But just creating this huge canvas of so much chaotic beauty, just painted all over who you are as a human being. That's what I really want to see people doing in this world, because, oh my God, like, do you know how cool people would be if they did that? Like, if you can take anything away from this video, that's all. Okay, bye-bye. Identity is something that we all feel is necessary as an individual, and to distinguish ourselves from other people, and to really have a fundamental grasp on the things that make us who we are in external reality and internal reality as well. Identity is something that has been carried away in our modern time, and I think it needs to be addressed. And there's this wonderful song that is by Willow. It's called Organization and Classification, and she says, are killing the souls of our generation. And I think that that is very, very real and happening, especially the more we go on in time. People feel the need to place labels on themselves, to identify who they are and put them in these little boxes of this is this and this is this, all just so organized in a way which should not be. It's going to really push ourselves in the wrong direction, and then maybe we'll realize that it isn't the way to go about living, but we might need to be pushed all the way to that edge to then realize, well, we did the wrong thing, now let's go back. And I really would hate to have that happen, because, you know, like, when it's very clear to other people, not just me. So why do we label? We label to identify ourselves, to have a stern grasp, a grounding, a sense of understanding of reality, and to feel like we fit in very neatly, very perfectly somewhere in this puzzle. We do this so we can even make our own little groups of people who also believe in the same things, who feel the same way, who like the same things, and it makes everything easier, it makes everything neater and tidier, especially in the world where we're living in. Everything is so chaotic, everything's all over the place, everything is just like, ew, you know? So it kind of brings us a nice, like, little sanctuary, a nice little heaven, to be able to go back to something that is relatable, something that is understandable, feasible, and it gives us that sense of unity somehow in a corrupt way, because it's not necessarily unification to be placing yourself in a box which you don't fit in. And I believe that to a certain extent, a lot of people really have this understanding that they don't always fit into those boxes that they place themselves in so heavily. And And it's really good that we're exploring these things because we're having the ability to realize that, hey, there's different things we can reach out for. Because, like, what, 30 years ago, there wasn't even, like, there wasn't even an acceptance for thinking outside of the box. There wasn't even an acceptance for the things that we are now doing a great job accepting. That is evolution. That is what is great about moving forward, is having that understanding of expansion and diversity is great, is wonderful. But placing ourselves in these neat, tidy boxes is not in our nature. And I understand that, it's important to have an identity, and I understand that it's something that a lot of people desperately hold on to, even though it seems like it isn't aligning as well as it should be. It's like they delusion themselves into believing that it's fulfilling. Just taking our extraordinary capabilities, potentialities, and just the things that we can do in this world and just like cutting it, like you've severed the snake's tail off, and it's not growing back until you understand that. Do snakes' tails grow back? Anyway, until you understand that these labels that you're placing upon yourself to cultivate this sense of identity is actually holding you back from reaching your true potential and understanding who you truly are. And yeah. It's not something that I don't disagree with the side of understanding and differentiating from other people, because that is necessary. But as you can see, with the diversity that we've cultivated here, a lot of people will just take a sense of that diversity and they'll multiply. Like, what I mean is, for example, let's do something like cottagecore or goth girls, like these types of identities that these people shape their whole realm around then get copied and pasted onto all these different individuals, and it's like a blueprint of default character. It's like, here's what a standard goth girl may look like. Here's what a standard cottage girl or clean girl or whatever. And like, it's getting worse and worse as we start to really start to identify ourselves and really submerge ourselves in what these mean. And it's like, we need to have this pretty aesthetic understanding of who we are, and we need to fit into the box, or else like we're doing something wrong, and we're like cutting off like slices of ourself, of our essence, just to fit in this freaking box, into a blueprint. It's like we've jumped from one blueprint to another blueprint. We're already living in a blueprint, and now these people want to go and make a blueprint of themselves. So I hope I'm not coming off as like passive aggressive or just like, it's frustrating to me to see this happen, because I was also in that category at one point in time where I felt like I needed to be associated with something. I needed to be able to hold on to this, because what else would I be without it? And it's like we try to make things linear. We try to make things easy, clear cut, really. And it just isn't that way. It never is that way. We are human beings. We are so complex. We are so beautiful. We are so much more than we love to give ourselves credit for, than we don't love to give ourselves credit for. And it's kind of like heartbreaking to see people who are trying to escape the norm create a whole new norm that is just going to be another blueprint, that is going to be just another default setting on the table for people to pick and choose from. And to some extent that is necessary, because it allows other people from younger generations to have the understanding that there is diversity in the world, and that, we're not just like subject to this like horrible westernization culture of just American dream. Like it's great to have that diversity when you're starting off, because it helps paint the picture of this is what it means to express yourself. But the problem is that adults, like people are adopting this sense of this is my identity now. And maybe they'll switch from like 2 or 3 different ones, but it doesn't matter. Like, you're still just taking another blueprint, putting it on yourself, taking somebody else's blueprint and putting it on yourself. It's like, instead of taking another human's blueprint, you should look within and you should try and understand who you are and what your tastes are and what you love about yourself, and really try to shape a unique character for yourself. And you will gain just so much more fulfillment, so much more understanding, such a well-rounded human being that really does embody organization, understanding, clarity, independence, personality, authenticity. You will embody that. But the problem is, we need to like face the fact that there is going to be some work involved, and that it's important to take on that work and know that we're growing as individuals every single day. You can have these types of aesthetics, you can. A lot of people who are of the newer generations keep themselves in this box, and I don't want it to be like a thing that just carries on for their whole lifetime, because we've already seen that in older generations, where they will be stubborn in what they believe in, and they'll sit in their identities for the rest of their lives, you know? And as people who have already established and painted the picture of diversity for newer generations to come, I think it's important that we now look further ahead. We can now learn to build something greater, build something for ourselves that is authentic to who we are and who we are as human beings, that is non-linear, that is chaotic, that is beautiful, and find comfort in the uncomfort of doing that, and embracing what it means to really develop a personality for yourself in a completely personally tailored way. Wouldn't you want that? To really know what lies at the core of your essence, to have a genuine understanding of what it means to be yourself, to be you. Not some pastel cottage girl, whatever, like not some punk rock goth girl. Like, seriously, to really fully embody what you could be. And I really hope you don't take this with like a sense of me targeting somebody or a specific community or a specific thing. My point is that as an individual, and I'm not even like, and the only reason why I can even speak on this is because I also have been a part of them, so I understand the machinations of these communities. Let's try and form authentic identities for ourselves. Let's make it a trend to genuinely initiate self-improvement, spirituality, change, and just full embodiment of who we are as human beings. Let's make it a revolution, a revelation to be ourselves instead of being a product of the place that we live in. And I mainly gear this towards Americans, people who live in the United States. But it can be applied anywhere. If you are living in the restrictions of a blueprint society, you can only adhere to blueprints if you don't recognize the state of which you are living in. We live in a reality that has been created by somebody else, and we don't have much of a say in it. Speaking externally, speaking on a really grounded level of where we are right now. We live in somebody else's world. The thing that we have genuine control over is ourselves. who we are, what we are, how we present ourselves, everything about us. This person that you are is something you can control. It's something that nobody can take away from you. And it makes me sad to see people throwing that away for themselves and taking somebody else's made avatar and painting it on themselves. And it's a good place to start if you are trying to explore yourself. And it's a great thing if you find something that you deeply love. If you deeply love goth girl outfits and their scene and their community, please embody it. But be yourself. But be who you really are. Don't be somebody else. I feel like I need to reiterate this. I feel like I need to just explain how much I am so affected by this myself. Identity is not an easy thing. And especially with this reality that we live in, it's something that is made against us. It's something that wants to create resistance. It's something that wants us to not be able to see who we are. And so I can't say, that it's a bad thing for people to be putting themselves in categories like this, because it's the product of the society where we live, in which we live in. However, people can do something about it, and it's going to take work. It's going to take true wanting, commitment. I really hope that you take on that journey for yourself, because it is so fruitful, and you will gain so much pleasure from being able to know who you are. A lot of people say hyperfixating is not a good thing. And when they say that, they're mainly talking about like subjects or games or whatever, maybe hobbies, doesn't matter. But there's also personalities. I see a person who is fixed on creating something for themselves, and they're doing it wrong. And they are just trying to be something that they're not. They're putting a mask on. And they're fixed at playing this part, this false part in the play, which they are not assigned to. And it's creating resistance. It's creating problems. It's creating inadequate. It's all inadequate. It's all wrong. To recognize that and to remember that you can be whatever you want to be, and to break free from the chains of chasing after something, and you let go and you start to embrace who you are, start to want to understand what you have inside of you, and then you will find what you were looking for, what you've been searching for outside of yourself this whole time. It's a long journey, and it's not something that's going to come easy. It's not something that, it might even be lifelong. And I think that that's something that is a joy. It's an amazement to be able to experience that. And maybe even at the end of the day, you don't even know what you're made of. You've searched so much of yourself, yet you still don't know. And that is beautiful. It's the feeling as if you're missing a part of the puzzle. It's the feeling like you won't fit in with people. It's the fear. It's the westernization of upholding a certain image. If you out there feel like you are being duped, if you feel like you are missing something or missing yourself or feeling like you're still trapped, I want you to know that there is a way out, and you're not alone. You cannot let a corrupt system parent who you are as an individual. Don't become the system. Rebel against the system. And by rebelling against the system, you look within and you create your own version of who you are.